save the Arctic, well, actually I said it already, that's my viewpoint on this issue, is that we should have a system for oil and gas that tells you where it's produced and what's the upstream flow, where it comes from, and what are the effects. In the same way as we have reilukauppa and we have ecological labels and all this, we should develop this kind of. And of course the oil and gas industry will say it's impossible because it's mixed in ships and mixed in pipelines and so, but it's not impossible. It's a matter of a system that can be built, of course. And this is the way, in a way, that the consumers would have the power to say, okay, I won't gas my car with the gasoline that is being produced in the Arctic, for example. That people could have could make the choice. And I think that's the only pragmatic way to move along this line, because otherwise, of course, it's the social pressure towards banning this development. But as we can see, in a way, the countries that do have the power to move forward with this are not the consuming countries. Well, Denmark is, but otherwise no.
Yes, well, I think there are a number of ways. I said there is some sort of, at least for offshore activities, some sort of a delay now or a timeout. It's certainly welcomed. You can see it after the Gulf of Mexico. You can refer to the Shell exploration in Alaska, which is at least for a year, maybe 2 years delayed. So the preparedness. The question is that no huge energy conglomerate or no government can afford today to be the next one or the first one in the Arctic have an incident like the Gulf of Mexico. So this awareness is there. And another question is again that these resources, I'm confident they will be exploited. There's no way to stop that. As I said, they are a part of the coastal states' key strategic resources, and there is a growing demand in China and India and so on, so they will be certainly exploited. The question is now what we can do to increase the sort of the prevention and to do it as responsibly as possible. That's in the Arctic Council, as I said, the economic issues will be the new part of the agenda. There was this week in Stockholm a meeting on corporate social responsibility with the companies present and so on. So that is one issue that we work in, and the Canada particularly leading this discussion very strongly there. There's a question of legal framework. As I said, the oil spill. It has been criticized that it's not going far enough and so on, but it's a step to that direction. IMO Polar Code, we are just discussing now, finalizing the environmental part of this. There's a technical part and environmental part on this code that will be helpful. They may not be all 100% for legal. We need certainly to do more, but that work. The need for working on to that direction is there. Then the question, which was mentioned here, the implementation. That is a big challenge. I mean, but still, I'm confident. When I was working at the UN mission and the multilateral diplomacy in the Cold War era, then I think there was this readiness to sign whatever international agreements, treaties, just without any intention to implement them. If I may say, this is not the formal position of the Finnish government, but it's my position. But now it is really more responsibility. The question is that the implemented issues are followed much closer now, and the media and so on. So this is an issue that if somebody signs and ratifies a treaty, so that well, at least in Finland, Nordic countries, our intention has always been to also fulfill the commitments we've been signing on. But this is another thing, and then it's a question that we need to know more. It's a question of really a very intertwined research. We need to have much more research also in the Arctic. We do not know much enough about the Arctic. So the climate change. That's one reason for EU to be involved. That since in the global discussion on the effects of climate change, EU is both a reason for climate change, but also subject to the effects of climate change. So they should be there, as well as China. That is one of the issues. Okay, on the Nordic cooperation, in the Nordic Council of Ministers, there's a small Arctic program which is supporting projects and so on. It's about 10 million Danish crowns, so it's not so much, but it's the emphasis there in the Nordic Arctic approach is on human development, the human dimension, the social dimension. So that is perhaps indication that in the other discussion fora it's not be sufficiently covered. So there's a niche, I would say. The Nordic Council just when we had the presidency last year made up a proposal that perhaps we should have a joint Nordic Arctic strategy. And I think about a couple of weeks ago I was in the Foreign Relations Committee in the Parliament in a hearing, and that was raised again there, the question. However, I think that it is not perhaps, it's not in the cards, at least in these cards we are playing here, because the approach is also different. If you take Norway with all these oil resources and wealth and so on, and then you take Finland and Sweden, so it's not very easy to have exactly the same kind of strategy there. So we have a little bit different starting points there. But that is to say that now Sweden will finish the presidency, and for the next 4 years the leadership in the Arctic Council will be in the North America, and first Canada and then US, and Finland comes in 2017 then. So I believe that there is a need, and there's a discussion to intensify our cooperation, and while the leadership is there, because we have certain different approaches maybe with North America on the issues. So we can work together. Also in other fora like IMO and the UN. The UN, I just wanted to mention this finally, that sometimes there has been made some proposals that the Arctic should, because it has global effects, it should be a part on the agenda of the General Assembly. This I feel that to share all these issues with 193 delegations at the moment could not perhaps be the most helpful way to get into results, so that we maintain that the Arctic Council is a good basis, but it has to be open to all with a legitimate interest in the Arctic.
Thank you. And then short comments from Tero, because you'll get to speak after the coffee, so maybe.
Well, Arctic is, there's a huge amount of issues that has been identified. Arctic is many things. It's a unique natural environment. It's a home to indigenous and other peoples, and it's also a region with a geopolitical interest for many countries and actors from outside it. I would start from implementing the kind of progress that's been made. The Arctic Council assessments provide us with very clear mandates and roadmaps, starting first and foremost from the Arctic Climate Impact Assessment and flowing from there. But the trouble with the Arctic Council is that every time we make an assessment and spend 5 years of our lives doing the science and give it to you, then it stops. So, and now when we started Arctic Biodiversity Assessment that I'll mention after the break, the work was started from zero. And last autumn when we started the Arctic Resilience Report, it also started from zero. So how to save the Arctic is a question that has no one single answer. It depends who is asking and who is answering. And if we honor the commitments that the history provides us with, then the answers are more clear. But if it's open, then it's a very hodgepodge question. Thank you.
Thank you. Any final do you have a question? China has been mentioned several times. Do you want to?
Thank you very much for